Registration for the 2023 AFCA Convention is now open. Join us as AFCA returns to the Queen City. Mark your calendars for January 8th through the 10th, 2023 in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you are attending the convention, dues, fees, and ticket requests not received by December 10th will be processed on-site at a higher convention fee and ticket price. For more information, visit AFCA.com.
This week on Inside the Headset, we are featuring Trinity University's assistant head coach and the AFCA's D3 Assistant Coach of the Year, Coach Paul Michalak. Coach Michalak talks about both his and his family's football journey, shares what it is like recruiting at a non-scholarship, high academic performance university, and gives us insight into the advanced technology used to run Trinity's camps. Now, let's get inside the headset with Coach Michalak.
Coach, what's going on, man? How you doing this summer?
Good. How are you, Mario?
I'm doing excellent, man. Excited to have you on. I know things are about to heat up. Been in Texas literally and figuratively here with the camps going on. I definitely appreciate you taking 20, 30 minutes to sit down and chat with us.
Absolutely. Love to do it.
Yeah. Well, always love talking career trajectory and career path and all that kind of stuff. Now, you've spent the last almost 15 years there at Trinity, but prior to that, you stayed on and coached at your alma mater, Carthage. How's it been to have 2 extended stays? If you count your playing career, coaching career there at Carthage, and then another long stay here at Trinity. How has that been for you to be able to kind of come establish yourself and just be somewhere for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably lean on the loyalty side of how I am as a person. So the other thing is it was really important raising a family, and it was really important for me. And I got married right before literally the day before I flew down here for this job. So it was important that she was a part of it all, and that we'd have roots to raise a family. So. Loved my time at Carthage. I had a phenomenal coaching staff that I learned a lot from. Head coach Tim Rux, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but the defense coordinator that I had is now the head coach, Greg Etter, at Concordia Mequon out in Wisconsin. A huge influence. And so really having that family type atmosphere was big for me. Early on at Trinity, I had Coach Steve Moore, who's known around the coaching world. He has the most wins in Trinity history. He was the guy who hired me as the head coach, and then he moved on. I think it was in 2014 that Coach Urban took over. And Jeremy is very big into family first. And so the way we have things structured, we're probably at home more than 99% of the coaches that are out there in the college world. So that's big for me. And so in order to move on, it would have to be a huge opportunity that really fits the family kind of deal. So I've enjoyed what we do here. We've built something. Really, when Jeremy took over, it was kind of taking things over and moving in a different direction. And it's been great. We've been able to set our roots, and this is home, right? We've got 4 boys that we that were born here. So this is all they know.
That's awesome, man. I love the emphasis that you kind of put on family. Especially as you start moving along in your career, you start getting different opportunities, and I think a lot of people have to figure out what they're driven by. Is it having the biggest logo that you can potentially have on your vest? Maybe taking an off the field job at a P5, or is it how much money can I make, or what is it, the best work-life balance, the best family situation, and clearly you've taken that family approach, and that's super important. I want to talk a little bit about that because you said something super interesting, and I'm just picturing my wife, me and her getting married in Wisconsin, where it's. Weather is awesome, and in the summer it's obviously super cold there in the winter, and then you're taking her to 100-degree summers, and the day after you get married. So, in all seriousness, what's that conversation like? You start dating this woman, and you decide that you're going to be in this profession that's extremely volatile. Obviously, you haven't experienced much of that yet, but at some point maybe. How did you broach that subject with your wife, and then prepare her for a trip from Wisconsin down to Texas?
Sure. So we dated most of college. That's where I met her. And so we're both from suburbs of Chicago, but probably about an hour apart. As far as where we live, she was from Libertyville. I was from the Carroll Stream area, where our families still are. And it was during the engagement, when I got engaged, she knew that this was the path we wanted to take.
Yeah.
Applying, coaching in general, and that it probably meant we were going to have to go somewhere, and who knows how many times we'd have to go. So she was aware of that, and she jumped on board. The biggest thing was just the start time. I mean, I probably should have thought a little more about letting her set the date for the wedding as late as she did, but it worked out in the end. She flew down after, and she got a job. She's teaching in the elementary school still to this day, and so it's been great.
Good. That's awesome, man. And you mentioned 4 sons: Liam, Ethan,
Mm-hmm.
Owen, and Wyatt. Sounds like you've been fortunate. You work for 2 staffs. That family has been important
Mm-hmm.
for the head guy, and obviously, when you're working for a program, it's what the head guy wants, and so as you know, and certainly as I know, as I've been to a couple where that might not be the case. You might be burning the midnight oil and waking up the roosters in the morning, at the same job. And what advice would you have, for any young coach who's just trying to figure out that work-life balance? Been a quality coach when you're at the office, but been a quality father, husband, boyfriend, whatever that you are in that point in your career.
Sure. I mean, my biggest thing is to try to leave work at work as much as possible. And if there is something I'm going to do, or watch film, or watch recruits, or try to call a couple recruits, or whatever it is, it's going to be after I put my kids to bed and, do whatever the routine is to get them down. So the biggest thing is when I get home, trying to put the phone down literally and just leave it until they're ready for bedtime kind of deal. So we've had the luxury where we practice in the mornings. So in the fall, I'm even home for dinner, whereas, a lot of guys don't get those opportunities. And so in the spring, there is no game planning. So I'm home every day. I'm able to pick them up from school. We actually, my head coach and I, Coach Urban and I, actually, his twin boys are 2 days older than my oldest son.
Oh yeah.
So they literally have essentially grown up together,
right.
And we coach their little league team. And so, being able to do that is huge, but you have to know, like, what is your goal in the career?
Yeah.
And if your goal is to great, just be ready to chase it sooner than later is what I would say. Make sure that you chase that dream prior to, quote unquote, having other responsibilities that come first.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to put you in a bind here with this question, but I kind of will a little bit. You mentioned for you to move on, it'd have to be a significant change, maybe significant money. I don't know what it is, but something significant for you to even broach the topic. When that day comes, what do you imagine that looking like? Is it going home, just sitting down talking to mom? I say mom. I'm sorry, that's why I call my wife. Talking to wife and 4 kids, and have how do you approach that when that time comes?
Yeah, I think family has to come first. So the job, if there is another one at some point, would have to be the key point. And does it ultimately make my family life better? Does it impact my family in a positive way? Because we're able to do so much here family wise while still, competing at a high level, and we just get great kids too. So there's, the grass isn't always greener just because of dollars or size of the school, like you said. So
yeah.
Coaching football is coaching football.
That's right.
And I think so. Those are the big things. Family first. Does it impact my family in a way that it drastically improves it? That would be the first one.
Well, you just said something that's interesting there, and kind of transitions to a little bit of a different topic. You guys got a different type of kid, and I won't say different type than every university, but very high academic, Division III non-scholarship. So the type of kids in your program, and they want to play ball. They want to excel in the classroom. So, you do surround yourself with a high quality athlete, and probably don't have, I'm sure still got your headaches that you got to deal with. That's going to be everywhere, but not as many, in terms of, chasing kids down to get to class and all those other type of things that other programs might have to deal with. been in that program for such a long time and been invested in that program, how has that affected your tenure there, of your ability to stay, just been wanting to be around some high quality kids?
100%. That's huge. Being able to see kids go out and, maybe Trinity does a great job of meeting need in certain kids. So there's some high quality young men who maybe don't have the resources, who end up coming to a place like Trinity, excelling in, doing phenomenal things career-wise that change the trajectory of their family. And so that's in having some part of that, right? Like, who knows how big or small, but we're involved in that process. We're helping those young men kind of mold their foundation, right, as they're getting to where they're getting to, and seeing the successes they have on and off the field. When they have a baby, calling you, texting you, coming back and introducing you to their child and all that kind of good stuff is
That's what it's all about, man.
It's huge. Yeah.
No doubt, man. Well, still on the same topic a little bit. We were talking a little bit before the podcast started recording. I met you about 7 years ago, and that was my first experience at a extremely high academic, non-scholarship program when I was at Davidson College in the Pioneer Football League. Obviously, that's the FCS. This is Division III. It was the same situation.
Yeah.
How is that recruiting? Because I'll be honest, it was difficult for me. I grew to love it. I didn't love it at first. When you walked into a school, loved the kids' film, and
sure,
like, hey, you hadn't taken 3 AP courses. No, I only took 1. Well, I literally cannot recruit you. So, just talk to us a little bit about that approach and what's different than most other universities.
Sure. I mean, we really have to, based off, with what you just said, we have to see those transcripts pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And before we watch film, my first early years here, no offense to my alma mater, but it was not a high academic school. So when I came here, my first years, you're watching some tapes like, wow, I really like this kid, and you talk to them, and then you get the transcript later. Well, that is just not going to work out. So you feel bad that you got a kid excited possibly, and he can't make it happen. And so, we just streamlining the process is really important. Trying to, get that funnel down to the kids that are truly recruitable for us is as early as possible. And we do cross recruit a lot lately with the Pioneer Leagues, because we are when you look at the school, the endowment, the resources, the facilities, there's really not much difference. We fly across all throughout the Southeastern United States on our road games. So it's a comparable product. So that's who we're battling, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep those kids from our state or our region to stay home in a place like ours, as opposed to go out to the Northeast or to those Patriot League schools.
Yeah, that was. I don't want to use the term frustrating, but I guess that's what it was. Is that was such a unique thing, because, like you said, you had the Patriot League, which they went to scholarship since I got out.
For Pioneer, right? Sorry,
okay,
Pioneer League.
But the Patriot League was non-scholarship for, I want to say, for a little bit.
They did. Yeah, they are scholarship though.
They are scholarship now, but so it was super interesting when. Especially when we met each other, we were going through the camp circuit, and it was just a group of us just all going to the same camp, just looking all looking at the same kids. And I remember sitting there, especially after sitting 5 years at an FBS program, like, we should beat this kid out, because we got the FCS deal, and like, no, he's going to Trinity. He's going to he's going to stay in Texas or Kansas. He's going to go to Washington, and it was actually unique that the division level didn't really matter at that point in time. A lot of times it was who was closer, who showed the most love, and all that kind of stuff. So that was very unique navigating. And so it leads me to the camp circuit a little bit. You are the camp coordinator there, there at Trinity. First and foremost, what do you enjoy about that role, and has it been beneficial for recruiting and just for personally for you, for your career?
Yeah, the relationship side of things with the schools that have come consistently. Getting to know the guys that recruit our area from a Harvard, the Ivies, Princeton, all of them they're great guys, and just getting to know them. And then the reality is they kind of, through those relationships, we can kind of gauge, are they really going after a kid or not? And how does that impact my time I spend on someone? And is it a real fit, and that kind of stuff. So that's been great. It's obviously a lot of work, and we got it coming up next Friday is the start. So all the behind the scenes stuff of paperwork that you got to have guys fill out, and all the background checks and making sure everything's squared away there, and then just the structure of camp and making sure everybody's on the same page, and all that kind of good stuff. But it's been great because I really do value giving the kids a great experience. It's a camp that's geared towards coaching. All those coaches are going to be here working with the kids, so the kids get an opportunity in this region to get in front of every Ivy League and ourselves in Rice and get coached by them, and not just run a couple times and then be done. It's a full day with some competitive situations and a lot of indies. So, being able to offer that to the kids in this area, and then getting the feedback from the high school coaches that they value that, has been great.
Yeah. Well, I told you beforehand, and to anybody listening to this is dead serious. I'm not saying this just because we have Coach on here. The Trinity camp that I went to, that you guys ran, was by far the best camp. And I did serve as a camp coordinator for 2 different universities. It was hands down better than any camps I ever put together.
Well, we appreciate
it. and one of the main reasons, and I love for you to talk a little bit about this, is you guys use some technology that allow for the testing process, which sometimes can just be annoying, and transferring times, getting times from one end of the field to the record hole, to whoever's keeping the records, and all that kind of stuff. You guys use some very, very unique devices or materials, or however you want to call it. Could you talk a little bit about that tech that allow for that part to be so streamlined so quick?
So we, several years ago, developed a relationship and got to know it's a third party who does all of that. We do not own the equipment or the technology. We pay them to come out and do this. We run those little, help run the drills and the automatic recording deal. But it's his own company, and he used to be a strength coach at the Division I level in basketball. His brother was the strength coach for the Spurs, and so in town, we just got to know him through there, really. And then he started doing it, and it's been, we like it because it does streamline, like you said, the documentation, not having to write anything down. You just essentially, the kid gets, either a tag or a number, and it just tracks him all the way through. And then we get the spreadsheet with all the information when it's done. And obviously the laser timing is important because it's, there's no slow finger, fast finger kind of deal. So some of the kids don't really like it because they realize the difference.
The laser times. I got you.
In the end, when they thought they were something and realized what they really were.
That's right.
But other than that, it's been great. It's a great relationship with them.
Yeah, no doubt. And just to paint a picture real quick for any listeners who might not understand exactly what happens. I want to say they had a wristband. Is that what it was? They come in, they have a wristband. Wristband clearly has just something that's populated.
RFID tag.
RFID tag. All right. And so that specifically identifies that person. That person walks up to the line. You don't have to share a name or school or jersey number or anything like that. All that data is already recorded. He lines up, gets down 3-point stance, run to 40. It's timed, and it's automatically documented into his in Excel format, I'm sure, other formats. But
that's how it,
So essentially he does that and then walks over to, vertical jump or whatever's next, and it's just automatically, calculating that data. And so you realize how much time you do waste just trying to write numbers down, giving the thumbs up for the next guy, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, it's awesome. I don't even know if they're marketing it out there for other places, but if you want to do your homework, coaches out there, man, it's worth it in my opinion. Now, before I let you go here, Coach, thanks for sharing that. Do want to talk a little bit about, awesome award you received at the end of the season, AFCA D3 Assistant Coach of the Year. And I've talked about this Coach of the Year award with other divisional programs that guys that I've had on the podcast. And one thing I love to identify is this isn't voted on by, the San Antonio Express newspaper or, some people that don't know if the football's pumped or stuff. This is coaches that lined up against you, the other offensive coaches or defensive coaches that have seen you on film throughout the conference or guys that met you over the course of these camps and things like that. So this is voted on by your peers. So I don't know. To me, that seems extremely special. What does this award mean to you and the Trinity football program?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge honor. The main thing to me is I do tend to be more of a in the background kind of guy. I'll set the table, but I really focus on our guys. I think it's the one thing I tried to stress to them is it's a reflection of them and, kind of how they allowed us to coach them and steer them in a certain direction. And we're big on the players leading, and for the most part, and it's their defense, right? It's not mine. It's those leaders within the unit. They own the defense, and they've done a great job of taking and going with it, but allowing us to coach them the way we do. And then it's just a reflection on, what they were able to accomplish, and is the way I look at it. We have, like we've talked about, great kids, the kind of program, the kind of school that we are. You combine that with the culture that Coach Urban has instilled here over the years, and it gives us, a great ability to coach great young men and push them in a direction. And they're all very, very motivated, like we've talked about, to reach the pinnacle of whatever they're doing, not only football, but career. And so it's been great.
Well, Coach, congratulations on that. Like I said, and by the time this podcast airs, this camp will probably be long done by that point in time. Mm-hmm. But best of luck to you here on the camp next weekend, and as you guys kind of travel around, looking for kids and going through the recruiting process, and also best of luck extending into this 2022 football season, and look forward to seeing you in Charlotte. Okay.
I appreciate it. Same to you.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Inside the Headset. If you heard anything on this episode that you would like to learn more information about, head over to AFCApodcast.com, where you can find every episode and all of the corresponding show notes. While you're there, take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the show, please let us know by sending an email to podcast@afca.com. Make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter at Inside the Headset and tag it when you share each episode. You can stay up to date with all things AFCA by following the @WeAreAFCA Twitter account. Every episode of Inside the Headset can also be found on your favorite audio streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you are not currently a member of the AFCA, be sure to find us online at AFCA.com and apply to join over 10,000 NFL, college, and high school coaches from around the country who are striving to be the best they can be. With an AFCA membership, you gain invaluable access to the annual AFCA convention, the bi-monthly magazine, and the new and improved digital library, which contains thousands of videos and articles contributed by hundreds of current and former football coaches. You can also visit AFCAinsider.com to sign up for our free weekly email newsletter on the right-hand side of the screen. It comes out every Tuesday at lunch and is filled with great articles and stories written by many of the same coaches you hear on the podcast. It's geared to help you become a better coach tomorrow than you are today. Be sure to connect with me on Twitter at Coach Mario Price, and remember, the AFCA is not just an annual convention. It is an association that continually promotes education, guidance, and networking. But it is also so much more than that. The AFCA is about celebrating the past and educating the future. It is about developing great coaches who will produce great teams and even better people. So invest in your skill set and impact today by engaging with the AFCA.